So here's a scam that could cost your business hundreds of thousands of dollars if you don't know what to watch out for. I learned about this when my friend Travis, who works for a company called Urban Hardwoods, got a message from a guy named Karl-Heinz Ziegler from Ziegler Oils, who wanted to purchase many sets of their Live Edge Madrone dining table. And these tables aren't cheap. They're exquisite, handcrafted works of art, and this guy wants many of them. In fact, he wants 25 of them to be delivered to Germany, where he's building a hotel and recreation center, and he's asking if there's a good discount because of the numbers that he's buying. And Carl's actually got a website that tells us all about his supposed oil company that has a commitment to providing reliable and sustainable energy solutions. Hey, here's Carl right here with his team, except these are all photos that he's ripped off from college professors. Same with these folks giving testimonials. You can find them all on unsplash.com. And you would think that a company with decades of experience would at least have a building over there in Germany and not be located in some dude's field. So naturally, Travis is suspicious, so he responds and he CCs me, Microphone, who he says is his colleague who manages large commercial sales for the company. Do you get it? Microphone? I'll take it from here, Travis. So I respond and I tell Carl that I will offer a 10% discount on the order, which will total $220,388 plus shipping. Now that's a lot of money for tables, but hopefully Carl will appreciate my 10% discount. And he responds and he says, Mike, I appreciate the 10% discount. Regarding payment, I am sure that you do accept a check payment for the order. I'm having a cash out from my assets liquidation with my investment firm in North America, and I am intending to use the cash out for this purchase. I can instruct my broker to have the check mailed out to you immediately once we finalize the purchase, and I will appreciate if you can send me an invoice with the grand total with discount and shipping to California. Alright, so he's going to send me a check from his investment firm in North America. Sounds legit. And to sound legit myself, I'm going to go ahead and make up my own business, which I'm saying is the parent company to Urban Hardwood. I call it IBS Management, which I think is a really funny name because if you Google IBS Management, you'll get nothing but tips on how to manage irritable bowel syndrome. So I make him an invoice and I tell him to mail me the check so I can coordinate the shipment of the tables. And Carl says, thanks, I will let you know once the check is mailed out. And Carl doesn't waste any time because I soon get an email from Carl that includes a forward from Matt Hall at Dell Jones Investments, which I guess is his investment firm. And Matt says that he sent the check through UPS and to keep an eye on it. So I look up this Dell Jones Investment website and it looks very cheesy. And hey, look, here's Matt Hall himself, which is another stolen picture. And did the scammer recently rebrand this website? Because here's a logo that says Hank Klein Real Estate Consultant. Are real estate scams not working so well these days? You're getting really sloppy, scammers. But sure enough, within a day, I get a check from Dell Jones Investments for $243,751.94, and it seems to have arrived from somewhere in Vancouver, British Columbia. Now, the Dell Jones website lists their office in a nice building in downtown BC, but their return address is a townhouse belonging to someone named Brian. Things are starting to get very weird. So I write to Carl and I say that it was received. And I ask him to send the California address where I'm going to ship these tables. And he says, kindly send me a copy of your bank deposit slip of the check once it has been deposited for my record purpose. Alright, he wants confirmation that I've deposited the check, but I'm not going to deposit a fake check. And even if I wanted to, I don't have a bank account under the name of IBS Management. Though I still think that's a great name for a company. But to convince him that I've deposited the check, I just go into my bank account and I edit the HTML to make it look like I've deposited a check for that exact amount. And I send a screenshot. And it's good enough because he then sends me the California address where I'm going to be delivering the tables. And it's here. Okay, he just wants me to drop off 25 custom tables worth $250,000 in someone's driveway in Sacramento? I say, is this a business or a residential address? If it's a home, there might be an issue because the truck needs a place to unload. And he said, I'm going to have people waiting to transfer into another truck upon arrival. You just have to give 2 days prior notice before delivery. There will be room for the trucks. Okay, this is going to be quite a sight to behold. 2 large semis on a residential street swapping 24 dining tables. So I tell Carl that I'm going to send him a document to sign before I initiate the shipment. And I just go find a DocuSign email that I recently got and I copy and I paste it into a new message and I change out all the details to make it look like Carl's getting an official email from DocuSign. And then I change out the links and the buttons to include my own custom trackable link. This is going to just redirect him to a typical 404 error page on DocuSign's site, but when he clicks on it, It'll give me his IP address and that'll tell me where in the world he is, because I'm skeptical that he's really in Germany. So I send the email and Carl goes to sign my document and he clicks, giving me his IP address. And it's putting him in Toronto, Canada. Alright, this is very interesting. He's obviously got somebody in British Columbia involved because that's where the check came from. Oh wait, just kidding. When I look up the detailed tracking, this did actually come from the Toronto area. He just put some random return address on the package to throw me off. So why is he saying he's in Germany? This is a puzzling one. But Carl responds as I expected and he says, Mike, the DocuSign sent says the requested page could not be found. So I just tell him that I'll send him a standard PDF to sign while I try to figure this out. But the next day he emails me saying he's got bad news today from the Ministry of Works and Labor regarding his ongoing project. He said, I got the attached letter from the ministry today, placing suspension on my project until further notice. And he attaches what he says is an official letter from the government and even includes a translated copy for me. It looks like he's failed some inspection and the government is holding it up, so he doesn't need the tables after all. And he says, I will advise you to please deduct your order cancellation fee if applicable from the money received and my money refunded back to me. I'm extremely sorry for any inconveniences this order cancellation might have caused. Okay, so this was never about the tables. This was just a way to get him to send me a fake check to cash and then return the funds before my bank realizes that it's all fraudulent, which would cost this business a ton of money. It's pretty clever, Carl. Now, you know what would have stopped this scam before it even had a chance to get started? Guardio. They're the sponsor of this video, and the first time I even went to this Stiegler Oils website, Guardio warned me that it was malicious. Guardio is a browser extension that acts as your online bodyguard, and it will detect scams early on because its system knows exactly what to watch out for. By using Guardio, you'll avoid scam websites, protect your information, and avoid installing malware. Guardio even alerts you if a malicious email bypasses your spam folder so you'll know not to open it. And after installing the Guardio extension, a free security scan will detect threats that are already on your browser. It'll tell you if you've got malicious extensions installed, or if you're leaking data, or if your searches are getting hijacked. I think that you'll be pretty surprised by what you find. And it only takes 30 seconds to do a browser health check, and you need to get this done. So go try it out today at guard.io/pleasantgreen, and you can get a free 7-day trial to remove these threats and enable real-time protection. There are 1 million people using Guardio today, and you can join them by going to guard.io/pleasantgreen and check out their affordable premium plan for full protection. So I'm going to play along with Carl to see how far I can take this. I say, I have received your message and I am sorry to hear this. Luckily, we haven't arranged the shipment yet. We can go ahead and issue you a check back to the return address on the check that we received from you. But he doesn't want me to send a check back to Del Jones Investments in British Columbia because it's a fake company. Instead, he has an account in the US to receive the funds. And this is probably a mule or someone that he's hired to collect the money for him. And he asks if I'm ready for the account information, and scammers are always hesitant to give this out unless they know for sure that their victims are on the hook, because they're basically exposing their cash mules when they do this. And it's always a success when we can get this information and report it to law enforcement. But he does send it, and it's someone who lives in Long Beach, California with an account at Chase Bank. He says, please find the attached for my wire instructions. Again, I am sorry for the inconveniences this might have caused. P.S. Please confirm receipt of the attached account details and do send me the confirmation slip for the wire transfer once the refund has been transferred to me. Now, I can't just send $250,000 to some random account in California if it came from somewhere else. I mean, even if you return something to Walmart, they're going to want to put it back on the same card that it was bought with. So I say, Carl, my accounting team is saying that the funds need to be returned to the same account that they were received from. But Del Jones Investment is a fake company, remember? There's no way they'll accept a check. So Carl writes to Matt at Del Jones asking permission to send the funds to California. He says, you remember I mentioned the German Ministry of Labor has suspended my hotel building. As a result, I had to cancel my order with IBS Management and requested for a refund. I got the below forwarded email from IBS Management and they are also copied on this email. Please advise us on the way forward because I need my money back. So then, Matt writes back to Carl and he copies me and he says, Dear Mr. Stiegler, we are very sorry to hear this. As you already know, we at Del Jones Investments only act and take instructions from you due to our confidentiality policy. I have attached for your attention an authorization from Del Jones that funds be released solely according to your instructions. Okay, so these two clowns are giving me approval to send the funds to some rando in California. Now, Carl says that he's in Germany, but it appears as if he's in Toronto. And now we have someone in California who's apparently going to receive the money. I somehow need to tie all of this together. So I take a look at that PDF that Carl sent me from the German Ministry of Labor, and I do a metadata scan on it, which can tell me a few things about how this PDF was created, like when it was made, and what software created it, and even who the author is. And the author's name is typically the username of the computer that it was made on. And you would expect that this document would have something about the German government, or at least a German name. But it doesn't. It has the name of Papadek Graphics. And when I search for this, I learned that it's a graphic designer based in Nigeria. Okay, now this is getting very interesting. Nigerian scammers are involved? So I reach out to this Papadek Graphics on WhatsApp to see if he's open for business. And I say, "Hi sir, I just wanted to ask you if you do logo designs, as I'm looking for a very good logo for my company." And he says yes, he can do a logo for $15. And so to find out if he has the same IP address as Carl, I create another trackable link that will redirect to his Instagram, and I ask if this is him. And he does click on it, but it's not the same IP address as Carl because it's registering in Nigeria, not Toronto. So Carl's working with this guy or what? I just cut right to the chase and I say, "Did you design this?" And he responds and he says, "How did you get my job?" And he confirms that it was him who designed it. And I asked, "Who did you do this for?" But he doesn't want to tell me, saying it's confidential. Now, I love seeing Nigerians using their skills to make a living, but if someone asks you to forge a government document, that's a job that you should probably turn down. I say, "I'm going to report this to the authorities, and right now it looks like you are the one that is impersonating the German government. Unless you want to tell me who's really behind all this."
Who are you working for?
But he doesn't want to talk to me. He blocks me. So if Carl really is in Toronto, then my guess is he's immigrated to Canada from Nigeria because he's still using this designer back home to pull off this classic advance fee check scam. And then when I look up the Dell Jones investment website on whois.com, I can see that it was registered by a Joseph Evie Parker in Kenya. And then when I look at the metadata on the Dell Jones authorization letter that Matt Hall sent, I can see that it was also this Joseph from Kenya who is the author. So now we've got this whole global network of scammers who are working together to fool companies into issuing refunds for fraudulent checks, potentially costing them hundreds of thousands of dollars. And they probably think that they're this close to finalizing one of their big deals, but I'm going to burst their bubble and scare them stupid. And this is probably the most satisfying part of scam baiting because all of this has been going on for like over a week. They put in countless hours mailing checks and designing letters and emailing back and forth. And now they're about to realize that it's all been for nothing. So I write to Carl and I say, "I have authorized the transfer with our accounts payable team. Please see the attached receipt of the transaction." And what I attach is probably the worst designed transaction receipt you will ever see. And I include all the personal details that I've uncovered. I say, "You have successfully transferred to Joseph Evie Parker," and I include his phone number as the transaction reference number. And then I state at the bottom of the receipt that this was created by Papadek Graphics. And then I send. And neither Matt or Carl ever responded to me, which tells me that my hypothesis of what's going on here is pretty close to accurate. I just like the thought of them opening up this email that they think is their big prize only to see their personal information that they've worked so hard to keep secret. Maybe they'll think twice about trying this scam for a while. Anyway, what do you all think is going on here? Have you ever had someone contact your business asking you to send $250,000 worth of inventory to Germany? Or mail you a fake check from a fake investment firm? Let me know in the comments. Hopefully I'll run into Carl or Matt again and they can tell me how right or wrong my investigation was. But I hope that you learned something, and I hope that I'll see you next time.